Hello guys, welcome to lesson 22 of module 7. Today we're going to represent two-digit sums and differences involving length by using the ruler as a number line. So with that said, you will need paper, pencil. If you have a ruler, you can use your ruler. Okay, if you don't, but you made this one, remember this one, you could also use this ruler. If you don't, that's okay, because we can always make our number lines with pencil and paper like we did before. All right, so don't worry about it if you don't have it. If you do, you can get it ready and come back when you have all your materials. All right, now, first, let's go ahead and start with some mental math strategies to add. We did this for lesson 20 with two-digit numbers. This time we're going to use three-digit numbers, but the process is the same. So for lesson 20, I was able to make the number bonds for you, but on this one, I want you to make your number bonds on your own. Or if you can do it in your brain, even better, okay? So the first problem is 420 plus 190. If you need to pause the video to solve the problem, you can do that. If not, you can just follow along. So remember, how much more does 190 need to make the next 100? Who's 90's partner? 10. Where can we get those 10 from? 420. So if I take 10 from 420, what will 420 have left? 410. And if we give those to 190, what would 190 have now? 200. So our new number sentence would be 410 plus 200. And the answer is 610. Very good. Next one, 290 plus 230. Which of these two is closer to getting to the next 100? 290. And how much does 290 need? 10. And where do we get those 10 from? 230. And what does 230 have left if we take 10? 220. And if we give those 10 to 290, what does that one have now? 300. So the new number sentence would be 300 plus 220 equal 520. Very good. Now remember, if you can't do it in your brain, like I'm doing it here, you can make your number bonds if you need to, okay? You can pause the video, make your number bonds, and then come back when you have the answer. Next problem, 380 plus 190. Which number is closer to making the next 100? 190. And what does 190 need? 10. Where do we get it from? 380. So we take 10 from 380. What does 380 have left? 370. And if we give those 10 to 190, what does 190 have? Now, 200. So our new number sentence is 370 plus 200. And the answer is 570. Very good. Next problem, 320 plus 190. How much does 190 need to make the next 100? 10. And where do we get it from? 320. So what would it have left? 310. So if we give those 10 to 190, now we have 200. So our new number sentence is 310 plus 200. What's the answer? 510. Very good. Next one, 240 plus 180. What does 180 need to get to the next 100? 20. Where do we get them from? 240. So we take 20 from 240. What does 240 have left? 220. Very good. And if we give those 20 to 180, what does 180 have left? Have now? 200. So my new number sentence is 220 plus 200. And my answer is 420. Very good. Next problem. 340 plus 180. For this one, I would like for you to pause it and come back when you're ready with your new number sentence. Is that what you got? And the answer is 520. Very good. All right. Now let's go ahead and do our application problem. So remember, this is Module 7. We're still working on Module 7, Lesson 22. So go ahead and find your application problem, and when you're ready, come back. The problem says, Liza, Cecilia, and Dylan are playing soccer. Liza and Cecilia are 120 feet apart. So imagine, Liza is right here, and Cecilia is 120 feet apart. So she's apart from her, she's far. Dylan is between them. If Dylan is standing in the same distance from both girls, how many feet is Dylan from Liza? So again, for this one, the easiest thing to do is draw a number line, just like we did yesterday, right? For lesson 21. So we know that Liza and Cecilia are 120 feet apart, which means that Liza would be at one of our starting points, or one of our endpoints, that's Liza, and this is Cecilia, she's at our other endpoint. So we know they're 120 feet apart, so that means Liza is at what? What is our endpoint? What do we always start with? 0, yes. And we know that Cecilia is how many feet apart from her? 120, very good. Now, it says Dylan is between them, which means in the middle. He is standing in the same distance from both girls. So he's right in the middle. So if you go this way, it'll take him the same amount of time to run to one or the other. He's not closer to Liza, and he's not closer to Cecilia. He's right in the middle. So this is Dylan right here. Now so this is our drawing. This is my drawing right here, okay? So now you need to figure out where it is Dylan. So what is in the middle between 0 and 120? So I want you to pause the video. I want you to write your word sentence and your number sentence, and when you come back, when you're done, you can come back. Don't copy me, use your own brain. All right, so here's what I did. Because we've been working with counting by 5s and by 10s, I figured it'd be easier for me to count by 10s. So just like I showed you on my whiteboard, Liza started at 0, right? And we knew Cecilia was at 120. We needed to figure out where Dylan was. So what I did was I counted by 10s from 0 to 120 to see what the middle number would be. I got 60. So the next thing I did was add 60 plus 60 to see if that gave me 120. Because remember, he was in the middle of both girls. So from 0 to 60, that is 60. From 60 to 120, that's also 60. So Dylan is 60 feet from Liza. Did you get the same answer? I hope you did, and if you did, kiss your brain. Okay, Now for our concept development. On our concept development, the first question to remember, this is the I do, but I want you to help me. It says, how can we use this number line to show 20 yards more than 35 yards? Listen again. How can we use this number line to show 20 yards more? What do you think we can do to show 20 yards more? Okay, so the first thing we can think of is, I want to show more than 35, right? So do you think I can have my starting point be 35? Yes, right? Because that's where I'm starting. I started at 35. And now I want to show 20 yards more than 35. So what I can do is, let's say for now that each unit has a length of 5 yards. So let's say that each one of these, each unit is 5 yards. So that means we have to count by what? By 5. So I want 20 yards more than 35. So I'm starting at 0 and I would count by 5. Okay, we need 20 yards. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Right here. I am right here. I know that's 20 yards more, but what number is that? So what do you think we can do to figure that out? We know this is our end point, but what can we do? So right here, we can count, right? So what I want to do first is I want to, we said this was our end point, so I'm going to draw a circle. I can't do it. Right there. Can I move it? Okay. That was horrible. How can we move this crazy little circle? So I'm going to draw a circle right there. Oh, that's better. Okay. So that's our end point. Okay, but now I need to figure out what number that is so I can figure the answer. So again, we counted by 5. So now I can start at 35 and count by 5s to here. That's my stopping point. That's why I put my circle. So let's count by 35. By 5s, I mean starting at 35. And 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. That's my answer. Very good. So how can we use a number line to show 20 yards more than 35? Well, we use this as our starting point, and we knew we were starting at 35 because we had to show 20 more than 35. We counted by 5. I marked my end point, and then I started at 35 and counted by 5 to 55. So this means that 35 plus the 20 yards more that we added, right, equal 55. And that's how you show 20 yards more on your number line. Okay, let's try another one. This time you have to help me, okay? You can't just be watching me. I know you, I see you. You need to help me. Here we go. This one says, now show 15 more than 45 and write a number sentence 2. So again, how can we show 15 more than 45? So let's pretend that the units are still 5, okay? Each hash mark is counting by 5. So we can, again, start at 45 here, right? This is our starting point. Sorry, my bad. So our starting point is here, and this starting point would be what? 45. Why? Because we need to show 15 more than 45. Then we also said we're counting by 5. So remember, we start at 45. So this up here is our imaginary 0. we need to get to what? 15, right? So we're counting by 5. So 5, 10, 15. There we go. So that means that this right here is our endpoint, right? So I like doing this so you can see the difference between when you're adding the units and the answer, the total value, okay? So that's why at the top, I put, if we're counting by 5s, I'm gonna start at 0 and then count by 5s to 15 because it says show 15 more. I put my circle there because that's my endpoint. Right there, I'm gonna stop. And now I can figure out what 15 more than 45 is because am I done? No, right? I do know that I need to show 45 plus 15 more equal what? Well, let's figure it out. 45, we count by 5, so 45. What's after 45? 50, and my next hash mark is 55, and my next hash mark is 60. Very good. So do I have to keep going? No, I don't have to because remember that's the whole point of putting this circle here was for, so that I knew that that's where I stopped. So 15 more than 45 is 60. Very good. So here I showed 15 more than 45 on my number line, and I also wrote my number sentence. Very good. Ready for another one? Next one. This one says, show 50 more than 60 using units of 10. So that means that our units are going to be what? 10. So that means we're going to count by 10. Very good. So what would our starting point be? 50 or 60? What are we going to write here in our starting point? Oops, I don't know why I keep doing that. Sorry, guys. What is my starting point going to be? Why 60? Because it says show 50 more than 60, right? So that means our starting point is 60. There's my starting point. I put 60, and now I have to show 50 more, and I have to count by what? By 10. So let's do the same thing up here. I know that my imaginary starting point is 0, and I have to count by 10s to get to what? 50. Very good. So let's count by 10s, and let's stop at 50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So that's our endpoint right there. So I am going to draw a circle right here to show my endpoint. Okay, so I started at 0. I already showed 50 more than 60, which is here. And now the last thing I need to do is start at 60 and count by 10s to see what 50 more than 60 is. So 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 110. Very good. Do I keep going to this hash mark over here? It's the last one. Why not? Because we don't need it, right? It only said to stop at 50, and that's exactly what we did. We just followed orders. Okay, are we done? Look at the red letters. It says write a number sentence too. So remember, we can write our number sentence two different ways. We can say 110 minus 50, because remember, if you're at 110 and you go back 50, you end at 60, right? Or you can say 60 plus 50 equal 110. So for this one, I want to put 110 minus, so I'm going to take what I added. What did I add? 50, and that equaled 60. Now, how can we check our work? We can add our parts, right? Does 50 and 60 equal 110? Sure does. So there we go. We showed 50 more than 60 using units of 10, and we wrote a number sentence too. Remember, if I'm going too fast, you can pause the video and see it over and over, that same part, until you understand, or you can do it on your own. You can grab your own and do it first and then come back. Okay, now let's go to the next problem. All right, this one says, show 30 more than 85 using units of 5. So that means we're going to count by 5s. Very good. And write a number sentence too. Okay, so this one, what's our starting point? 30. So we're going to write 30. Let me get my pencil here. We're going to write 30 because that's our starting point. So we're starting at 30. Okay. And we have to show, ooh, did I do something wrong here? I sure did, huh? I sure did, because is my starting point at 30? I tricked you. That's not my starting point. It says show 30 more than 85. So that means my starting point is what? 85. Yes, so my starting point is 85. Okay, and now I have to show 30 more. So am I going to count by 10 here? No, because it says units of 5. So to make it smarter, not harder, remember what we were right here, imaginary 0, so we know when to stop. We're going to count by 5 to what? To 30. Very good. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. There we go. So now that means that we're going to have to use a whole number line, right? Okay, so are we done? No, we haven't even started. We haven't even showed 30 more than 85. Okay, so we forgot our little circle or dot, whatever you want to call it, to show that that's my endpoint, because that's where I'm going to show 30 more. And now I can count by 5s to get to this endpoint where I need to be. There we go. This time, I'm not going to write the numbers because it's going to take too long. So I'll just say the numbers. If you copied the number line and you do have your number line, go ahead and write your numbers. That's the best thing to do. Okay, but this is supposed to be the you do. So, all right. Here we go. Get 85 going. We're going to count by what? Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115. And that is our endpoint. Very good. Did you get it right? Did you do it by yourself? Did you? Okay, so now it says write a number sentence 2. So we can do 2 different number sentences. We started at 85, we added, or we showed 30 more, and that equaled what? 115. That's one number sentence we can show. We could also say, well, we ended at 115 minus the 30 equal 85. And again, how can we check our work? You can add your parts to see if 85 and 30 do really equal 115. Very good. hope you're enjoying these because I really, really like these. These are like one of my favorites. I don't know if you can tell, but I really like working with number lines. So I hope you like it too. Okay. Now let's see if there's, I hope there's one more because I don't remember and I really hope so because I want to do one more. Let's see. There was more, but guess what? This one's a little different because now let's read what this one says. How can we use a number line to show 15 feet less than 55 feet? So this one wants you to show less. What do you think we can do? That's a little tricky. I'm listening, I'm listening. Okay, so we are still gonna use our number line just like we have before. We're still counting by fives just like we did before. But this time, guys, remember, our starting point was on this side because on the left side because we were adding, we were giving more. But remember that if we do the opposite, which is showing less, then that means we can't start on the same place. You have to start on the opposite side because we're doing the opposite thing. So this time we have to start at this endpoint on our right because we know the end point. We don't know our starting point. We know that we end at 55 and we have to take 15 feet, okay? So for this time when we show less, our starting point is going to be right there, okay? So if you're copying Ms. Juarez or working with Ms. Juarez, go ahead and put your endpoint on that side because we start from the right because we gotta go back. So remember, the more you go to the if you start on the left and you jump, so let me show you right here. If you start on the left and you jump to the right, the numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you start on the right and you jump to the left, the numbers have to go smaller. That's why we're starting here because we're gonna show less. So 55, remember your imaginary 0 is gonna go there, okay? We're still counting by 5 and we need to show 15 less. So 0, that means we're gonna count by what? 5s, so 5, this hash mark is 10, and this hash mark is 15. Very good. Remember we do this because this helps us know where to draw our circle on where to stop, okay? That's why we do this. So now we know that this is going to be our endpoint right here. That's where we're going to stop. So again, we go back to 55. We have to come back. So start at 55. If we take 5, that gives us 50, 45, and 40. So that means that 15 feet less than 55 is 40. So let's go ahead and write our number sentence. That would be 55 minus 15 equal 40. Or we started at 40. What do we need? We added 15 and that gave us 55. Is 40 plus 15 55? Yes. Very good. So that's how you do it. So remember, if you're adding more, if you're giving more, you start on the left. That's your endpoint, and you add more to the right. But if you're going to show less, you have to start at the right side over here at the end, this endpoint, and go back because the numbers get smaller. I hope I made sense. I don't remember exactly what I said, but yes. So again, if you're going to show more, you start on the left because the more you give it, the bigger the number gets. But if you're going to show less, then you start on your right because the less you have, the smaller the number gets. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so we're gonna practice that with 2 more problems. So this one and one more, because I want you to remember that if you show less, you start your endpoint on the right side. So it says show 20 less than 90 using units of 10. So this time each hash mark, each unit is gonna be of 10. And because we're gonna show less, that means that we have to start on my right side. So we can be able to take and the number can get smaller. We have to show 20 less and our units are of 10. So if you can do this by yourself, pause the video and do it, and then you can come back. Oh, sorry, those are my dogs. So yeah, pause the video, do it, and then you can come back. Okay, so 0, I'm gonna do 0 there. That's my imaginary 0. And then I'm counting by tens, and I need to take or show 20 less. So that right here would be 20 less, show 20 less. Then we draw my dot to show me where I'm gonna stop. And if I'm at 90, I need to go back 20, so that means I count by tens, so 90, 80, 70. So what is 20 less than 90? 20 less than 90 equals 70, or 90 minus 20 equals 70. Okay, now if you see it in plus and you start at 70, 70 plus 90, I'm sorry, 20, because that's what we added or gave, equal 90. There you go. We're gonna do one more of these. I want you to try and do it all by yourself. Try your best, okay? And let's see if you can do it. Okay, one more before the end of the lesson. Here we go. Last one says, show 30 less than 115 using units of 5. So we have to show 30 less than 115 using units of 5. Write a number sentence 2. Okay, so we know we have to show 30 less. What is going to be our starting point? 115. Very good. So 115 goes here, right? We're going to use units of 5 or 10. Units of 5, so that means we count by 5s. Very good. So to show 30 less, we start here with, that's our imaginary 0. And you don't have to write all the numbers if you don't want to. You can just say 0. We have to show 30 less, so we have to count by 5s to get to 30, right? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So here is what where we would show 30 less, okay? And because that's where we're showing 30 less, this is where we make our dot right there. So you start at 115 and you come back by 5. So I want you to pause the video. I already helped you. I want you to pause the video, and when you have it done, you can come back and see if you got it right. All right, I really hope that you did it all by yourself. We have 115, we're counting by 5s, units of 5. So 115, if you take 5, this makes 110. If you take 5, this makes 105. 195. 90 and 85. So that was me just guessing, but let's see if it's true. You know another way that we can do this, an easier way? Start at 85, count by 5s, and let's see if you get to 115. Okay, touch a hash mark every time you count. So 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115. Very good. So we got it right. Now we can write our number sentence. So go ahead and write your number sentence that you think it's the correct one. So I'm going to do 85 because that was my starting point plus 30, right? Because that's what it showed, equals 115. Very good. And my other number sentence could be 115 minus the 30 less that we showed equaled 85. And again, just like that, boys and girls, is how you show these numbers on the number line. Did you have fun? Number lines are very fun. And they're easy to see the numbers and to move them around, and that's why I really like it. All right, so now it's time for your problem set. Okay, so oops, I don't know what's going on back there. So you're going to do your problem set, okay? Let me see if I can show you one. Right here, lesson 22, problem set. So it's the same thing. See, for A, it says show 30 centimeters more than 65 centimeters. So if it's more, remember your starting point is on the left. If it's less, your starting point is on the right. Don't forget that. Okay, when you're done, you can go to your exit ticket, have fun with your number lines and your problem set and your exit ticket, and see you on the next lesson. Bye.